Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the latest episode of the Auburn Live Show, recruiting edition today. You know what that means? It's also known as the Triple Freaking Pod! I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. And if you're not a member of that site, you should be. It's practically free at this point. It's $1 for an entire year. I don't even know what the 100 divided by 12 is. Probably about 8 cents a month right now. 8 cents a month, dude. You can find more in your car ashtray. And people still put change in their car ashtrays. People don't even have car ashtrays anymore. Huh. Interesting. Anyways, today I'm joined, as I always am, by Mr. Cole Pinkston. Cole, how the hell are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Mr. Lee. I hope that I never have to cover for you in hosting because I just don't know if I can bring, that intro like you do. Maybe one day. I need to work on it just in case.
I spend about 10 minutes in the mirror every day practicing that. And
well, it shows.
I still can't figure out the virtual background, but I can at least introduce the Shrivel freaking Pod, man.
Well, that's number one, I think.
All right. What about that? No, that's not good. Whatever, dude. I figured it out. If I move back and forth. Anyways, man, I'll keep messing with it as we go on. Well, listen, Jhead, as we mentioned Tuesday night on the call-in show, he is on a sabbatical this week, so he will not be joining us. It'll be me, Cole, and Zach's there in the back, and we will do everything we can to catch you up on Auburn recruiting. I know this week, as the dead period has been a little slow, probably the last 10 or so days, but things are starting to heat back up. And we learned on Wednesday from Mr. Keith Niebuhr that there are some new names at the edge position, which is an absolute huge position of need for Auburn. As we've talked about many times, Auburn is losing practically everybody at that position. Except for Dylan Brooks. I know Joko Willis has moved over since, but everybody pretty much at the position except for redshirt freshman Dylan Brooks will be gone. He might be a sophomore now. Or is he a redshirt freshman?
No, I think he redshirted.
Redshirt freshman Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of opportunity here to add some really quality people to the class at that position. And we know that Auburn's number one target, five-star Quay Russaw from up here in Carver, Montgomery. No doubt about that. We know Auburn's still in it for him. We believe it's an Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, more of a three-team race for him, although he won't ever admit that until maybe December. And he's a guy that's not going to. That looks much better for now, doesn't it? Just kill it.
I think that's
Quay Russaw, absolutely. Reuben Bain is another guy we think Auburn is in the top 3-4 with Alabama and Miami. Bain's been to Auburn several times. His brother played for Rock Bellintonia FAU, or is it FAMU? Can't remember which one, but there's a lot of next. Which one
Florida,
is it?
Florida Atlantic, so FAU.
Okay, cool. I was right the first time. So those are some names. I know. Didn't Auburn just lose an edge? Oh, Keldrick Falk, of course, committed to Florida State. We all thought he was headed to Auburn, only to find out that Auburn finished behind Clemson, although I don't know that Clemson had room for him then. But certainly somebody to keep an eye on. As Keith reported, Auburn will keep recruiting Falk, and Falk wants them to keep recruiting him.
Absolutely.
A couple of new names Keith brought to our attention were two names that I had never heard before, Cole. I'm not afraid to admit it. Joseph Mupoyi. I don't know that's not how you pronounce it, but it's Mupoyi. Mupoyi.
Mupoyi is how I've been saying it. Yeah. We'll go with that.
Joseph Mupoyi from Washington, D.C., originally from the Congo. Auburn actually offered him about 3 or 4 months ago, but he never really posted it. But we've talked to Keith, talked to him today. He had an article on him today at Auburn Live on 3. Says he's been talking with Rock Bellintonia a lot. He's going to visit next week. He's kind of like that Jeremiah Anglin kid, the DB out of Florida. He's going to visit. He just doesn't know if it's going to be for Big Cat. It might be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. He doesn't know yet, but he's definitely going to visit Auburn. Definitely a guy to keep an eye on. He's very high on Auburn. Keith thinks he is a commitment watch guy. And then I talked to Ashley Williams, who we all thought Auburn was out of. He was another edge that kind of committed on July the 10th to Nebraska before ever visiting Auburn. And everybody started freaking out, understandably so. But Auburn was one of the schools to first get in on Ashley Williams, 4-star edge from Louisiana. And then he just kind of like dipped out, committed to Nebraska. Well, we find out 10 days later that's not the case, really. I think he was trying to shore up his position with Nebraska until he could find something
Mm-hmm.
else. And Auburn certainly has continued to recruit him. He's coming to Big Cat, 4-star edge. Ashley Williams coming to Big Cat. Cole, what do you think about Ashley?
Well, just on the point you're making there, the way things are, and we've talked about 100 times with the guys committing so much earlier, you'll see this happen where guys jump into class because they're trying to make sure they have a spot, right? Like we're saying, if they're recruiting 4 or 5 edge guys and they think that a couple of them are trending that way, maybe they go, all right, well, let me get in, because if I don't, and it's happening earlier than usual. So he kept his options open when he did that, and he knew that. And Auburn was somebody that was still talking to him. I think Rock Bellantoni should deserve some credit for staying in these relationships with guys like him and Keldrick Falk. And Ashley Williams is a guy that I talked to when he visited. I think it was like Easter weekend when he visited.
It was. I couldn't figure out what holiday he was talking about, Cole. He visited back in April.
Yes.
And I was like, what holiday's in April?
It was Easter.
It sure was.
I remember because I was at a family event and he texted me, you got time? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Of course. Anytime. So we talked then and it was, to me, it felt like Auburn was definitely in it at the time. And I didn't think even when he committed Nebraska that it'd be over, just because I know at this point how Rock Bellantoni handles these things, and he's not going to quit on anybody. That's just kind of his personality. And I think it'll pay off. Ashley Williams is a guy to me that would make sense in Auburn's class. I think it could happen. It may be a while before that happens, but this visit coming up is definitely an eye opener to me, with him. And I was wondering when he was going to visit again. It wasn't an if, but a when he was going to come back to Auburn to me.
I'm actually going to put Ashley Williams on my commit watch for Big Cat. I really think, and after Keith posted what he did Thursday morning in his Thursday morning juice, that Nebraska, I think they were going after another edge. They already had another edge committed.
Yeah.
And just from talking to Ashley last night, Wednesday night, he had a certain pitch to his voice that I've heard before.
Mm-hmm.
And led me to believe that he deserves to be on the Big Cat commit watch list. Matter of fact, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn adds a couple of commits at the edge position. I think Ashley Williams is certainly one to watch, and I think the Joseph Mapoye, if he comes in, and regardless of what day, but I think he is another guy on a commitment watch list for Auburn. I know Auburn wants to get some edges committed, and other schools are starting to squeeze on these kids to get a spot in the class. I think Auburn's going to stop doing that themselves. And go ahead.
At some point that huge need, like you're talking about, one guy coming back, Dylan Brooks, that's going to mean something to one of these edges that comes through here. And it has the whole time. It's just, getting to this point where they might actually decide to make a decision. And now a lot of things have happened, but it looks like Auburn's closing in on a few of these guys, and that's huge. And, about Ashley Williams, too, I wanted to add, when I first talked to him, we talked about Auburn for a minute, and then he hit me back and said, so what do I got to do to get ranked, man? Because he was not ranked at the time.
He was a nobody.
Had like 2 offers, and Auburn was one of them that joined in with Tulane and schools like that. And I'm wondering, I've been wondering the whole time, is that something that's going to, make a big deal to him? Is that going to be a big deal for him moving forward? And I think it is. I think that's something in the back of his mind. He's like, yeah, they found me first in a way. So
yeah. A little early loyalty there from Auburn. I remember when Auburn offered him, we all thought he was a guy that Auburn could get because nobody at the time had really heard of him.
Yeah,
and people were complaining, and of course, 3 or 4 months later, here he is, 4-star, a guy that's highly coveted by several schools, and Auburn desperately would love to add him to the group. Two more edges that Keith brought to our attention. Of course, we knew about Wilkie Denard. We've known about Wilkie for a long time now. He visited as a junior his summer of his last year. He came back this summer and said he will be back for an official visit. I talked to him Wednesday night. He is locked in 4 official visits: Auburn, Florida State, Tennessee, and Indiana, of all schools. I think there's a connection there. I bet Jhead would know that connection, but
he probably would.
He would. Yeah, so back in there. Jhead, that's not how you sound at all.
No.
But Wilkie Denard is coming for an official visit. I will say this, man. I think Auburn would like to squeeze in on him too. Like, hey, man, we've got 2 guys that might be committing next weekend, next week. And we don't want to see you. Auburn's always going to have room for Quay Russo. They're always going to have room for Reuben Bain. If those guys want to come, there will always be a spot available for those guys.
Sure.
Now, I think Auburn would like to get 2, maybe even 3 edges before them. Go ahead and lock them in because Quay Russo, Reuben Bain, probably going to be December guys. And Auburn cannot wait that long to start taking edge play. We all know that. Mm-hmm. Cameron Linhart is another guy that Keith brought to our attention. He is like Joseph Mapoyi, and that I'd never heard of the guy until Keith brought him to my attention. Cameron is a 4-star edge from IMG. I think he's originally from New York. And I spoke to him briefly. I'm supposed to talk to him again Thursday night. He doesn't have anything locked in for Auburn next weekend, but that's because Florida, just like Wilkie Denard, their high school practice starts next week. So these kids from Florida are going to be practicing next week. So it will be much more difficult for them to come to a Big Cat visit than it will be for Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana guys. And up the East Coast. But Cameron Linhart is another guy to keep an eye on. Rock Bellantoni had a FaceTime Zoom call meeting with him Thursday morning. It went very well. Auburn's very high on this kid, and he's very high on Auburn too. Keith said Nebraska, same with Ashley Williams, is pushing for Linhart. If they were to get Linhart, maybe Ashley Williams would make it a lot easier for him to go elsewhere. But definitely Joseph Mapoyi, Ashley Williams, Wilkie Denard, Cameron Linhart, Reuben Bain, Quay Russo. There's 6 guys that Auburn would love to get 3 of them.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, too, with Wilkie Denard, I know some people view him as a down-the-line guy that grows into maybe a 5 technique with the hand-on-the-ground type of guy. And maybe if you get some of these edges and get Denard, you can play around with where he might fit, and that's something that might mean something to him, too. So that's probably –
He told me last night he's 6'4", 250.
Yeah.
You saw him today on Twitter. He was squatting 505.
He is your – I mean, that's kind of where Colby Wooden was at that time, that size. And now he's grown into, 6'4", 290 almost. So that's kind of his future, Wilkie Denard. And he could still play edge at that size depending on his skill set, but he's got the size and the frame to be able to move around and go down on the line. So that just, that ups his value too.
Yeah. And what I asked him about is like, he said, I'm up to 250 now. And I was like, well, damn, man. I was like, I know you could slide inside. And he goes, well, you know what? And I was like, is Auburn recruiting you? And he's like, no, man. Auburn's recruiting me to play edge, but they've also, whatever they want me to play, whatever they need me to play, my body can handle it. So if they want me to drop 20 pounds and play at 6'4", 230, no problem. If they want me to gain 20 pounds and play the 5 or the 3 even, several years down the line, my body can take it. He's 6'4". He's got a great frame. We all saw him in June, or not we all, but me and you saw him in June. I think you've seen him before too, Cole. Mm-hmm. I think you were there for that visit.
I think I saw him at a camp. I wasn't at that visit, but I've seen him in person.
He was. So the edge position is getting a much needed kick in the ass this week.
No doubt.
And it's not like it's just started. It's that we're just now finding out about some of these guys. So that no fault to the staff, as Mapoyi said, I've been talking to these guys for 6 months. Auburn offered me 4 months ago. I just didn't post about it. Mm-hmm. Good to get some of these guys out there, as well as added to the Big Cat list. I think before I looked on before we came on the show, there the 2023 class has certainly received and Wilkie Denard, Jamie and Sherwood. There's that connection too.
That's
Jamie
right.
and Sherwood from Jensen Beach. I didn't realize that Jamie and Sherwood had played with Wilkie's brother, but there is some connections there. And Wilkie is a very smart kid.
They remind me of each other. Just looking at their picture, they got the same kind of look to them, him and Sherwood. I was like, man, that kind of makes sense. They seem to be the same personality kind of guys too, kind of quiet, laid back, and
yes,
it's
like pulling teeth to get Wilkie to talk. Now he's very intellectual. He's very intelligent. He's going to be a graduate guy, December graduate, early enrollee, and you can tell this kid is a lot smarter than the guy interviewing him. So right now, let's see. I'm looking at 4 stars 2023. I'm looking at the 2023 Big Cat list, guys. Let's go over it real quick. We've got the commitments, all of whom are 4-star recruits. Jeremiah Cobb, Carmelo English, commitments. Terrence Love, Braden Joyner got the bump to a 4-star on the On3 consensus in the last week. So all 4 of Auburn's commitments will be there. All 4 are ranked 4-star recruits. As of today, we're still expecting 4-star offensive tackle Bo Hughley, who's committed to Georgia. to be there, as well as, of course, he's Terrence Love's teammate, and we'll get to the 2024 guys, but Aaron Nolan also is coming, 4-star quarterback. We've since added 4-star edge Ashley Williams, and certainly a guy to keep an eye on. Next week, 4-star D lineman, former 4-star defensive lineman Derek Hunter. He is a transfer from A&M, now at Hines Community College. Keith has been keeping track with him. Jeremiah Anglin, we mentioned him earlier. He's a 4-star DB from Florida. We talked about the Florida guys playing, starting practice next week. He is a guy who told us, kind of like Mapuyi, is that I'm going to visit Auburn next week. I just don't know what day. I went ahead and put him on the Big Cat list, and we'll move him off if he gets that visit set. Until then, at least everybody knows he's visiting next week. Hey, and I tell you what, we've talked about this, Cole. We talked about this on the and this is right up your alley, on the call-in show Tuesday night. But we love, even though there's not a 4-star offensive lineman uncommitted on the Big Cat list, we love the group coming in. Oh yeah, there is Bo Hughley, but he's not committed to Auburn. We love the offensive line group. So we've talked about Braden Joyner coming, commitment. Talked about Bo Hughley coming, committed to Georgia. And then you've got Bison Lane coming from Pike Road.
Yeah.
Big road grader, inside guy. I mean, he's a Mike Berry. I don't know if y'all remember Mike Berry. But,
that's a good comparison. I've
seen
him
like
play. Watched him play in the first round of the playoff last year. He's definitely an inside guy, but he was knocking people off the ball too. So definitely a guy.
Strong top 6. I mean, Auburn's in there with I mean, you get Arkansas, Georgia. I can't remember who it is.
Tennessee and Texas was in there.
Texas and LSU, Georgia, and Arkansas, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
Arkansas.
And he's right up the road. To me, he's a guy you've got to get.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take 6 offensive linemen in this class. Here's a guy 30 minutes up the road who other SEC schools won't. If he's good enough for any of those other 5 schools in his top 6, he's good enough for Auburn. You take this kid, in my opinion. Now I'm just, hell, what do I know? I'm a senior recruiting writer. Bison Lane, I think it should be a take. I think Auburn's going to actually push for him. I would like to see Auburn push for him, lock him in, and cancel those visits. He's got to fit. I mean, this isn't just I'm going to name 6 schools that I like. I mean, he's got official visits set up to Arkansas, Tennessee, and I think Texas too. He's got official visits set up to these schools. Then let's see. Jatavius Shivers, is he more in Janoris Jenkins and Tyler Johnson? 3-star offensive tackles from Louisiana, Villa Rica, Georgia, and Lakeland, Florida. Janoris said he was 90% coming. He's still expected to come. Gold, 3 offensive tackles, uncommitted, coming into Auburn. I don't know that anybody has an offer except for Wilson. I don't think Tyler Johnson or Jatavius Shivers have offers, but I love seeing these get these guys on campus, man. You can pull the plug if you like them, if you don't like them, and you can pull the. I mean, put them in send them an offer if you do.
Right.
You liked it. You like getting those 3 tackles on campus, Cole?
Oh man, that was huge. Because we were sitting there wondering. I mean, who is on the board that would even come to this? We couldn't find a name, and then boom, those 3 guys hit, and and we knew that they were out there and people that Auburn had looked at before, but now they know that even if they are somewhat down the line, they're important. They were important even before some of those names started going off the board. So Jatavius Shivers, however we're saying that, he's the guy. He's the tackle build, that prototypical tackle build, man. He's like Bo Hughley in that regard. He's got that look. 270 pounds, which is so lean right now, and he's a developmental guy because of that weight. But when he puts on some weight, he might be a really good player, and he's got some good offers too. I don't know much about TJ Johnson yet. I've seen his film. Other than that, I don't know much about him.
He won't answer. I can't get in touch with him.
Yeah, sometimes those guys are the surprise guys.
Yeah.
When people ask us about surprises, and he's coming from where's he from again? Is he
Natchitoches, Louisiana?
Yeah, so pretty good little trip he's making to come to the Auburn Big Cat weekend, and that's not for nothing. We guarantee you that.
Yeah, you don't make that trip for nothing. That's right.
But those 3 guys are all guys that look pretty good on film, and especially Shivers to me is a guy that I've seen him a few times and wondered, man, why aren't more schools on him? I mean, he looks just like Bo Hughley from a appearance standpoint. And his play's pretty good too. So I think those are interesting, and I think they're important. They're becoming more important every day. Too.
Former Vanderbilt commitment. He's listed at 6'7", 270 pounds. He decommitted from Vanderbilt. He has offers from Florida State, South Carolina, Ole Miss, West Virginia. This is a dude that you need. Mississippi State, Georgia Tech, Indiana. Auburn has an offer, but I guarantee you they want to see him next Saturday, shake his hand, and and he leaves there talking about an offer. And I'm assuming Auburn would hopefully are hopeful that he leaves there talking about a commitment.
Well,
So,
we know at this point how they operate. They want to see guys in person. They want to talk to them. They want to, they want to kind of eyeball them and see what does he look like. Does he have bad weight? Is he the right kind of frame? That kind of thing. So if they haven't seen much of him, or at least haven't seen him in a while, this is the chance to see him and go, all right, let's start pushing for this guy, because that's what they did with, just an example would be Wilkie Denard. They see him, and then the heat goes up on his recruitment from Auburn. Yeah. And it started from when he came to campus, it seemed like. And they were on him before then, but they really started to turn it on with him after they saw him and said, all right, this is the kind of guy we want right here. Let's start pushing. I think the same would be for Shivers and probably Johnson too.
Yeah, I won't be here, but I'm really curious to see what TJ Johnson says and how he looks. That's a little bit different from what I'm used to, Cole. It used to be, and it might just be the change in times, but or maybe the staff system when it comes to it, but it used to be, hey man, let's offer these kids to get them to come.
Yeah, right.
And then if we don't like them, we'll drop them. And now it's completely different.
No, I mean, that's how most people do it to this day. I mean, I think that's the style or the way things go now, or the fad, or whatever you want to call it. But Harsin kind of, the way that he does things and his staff, they kind of move a different direction, and it's somewhat old school. So that's just how they go about things.
Yeah, I respect it, man. I don't want to send this kid an offer if it doesn't hold any weight.
Yeah.
And if he's really interested, he'll come. And if he's not interested, then we don't want to waste our time on it anyways. Lastly, right now, confirmed guy is Jacorius Hart, JC Hart, the defensive back from Lochapoka, Alabama, home of the former Tiger Montavious Pitts.
Oh, man.
Monte Pitts.
That's right.
And so, and he's definitely, he's in my class. I'm sure he's in your class projection too. He wants to, I would say he was on my Big Cat commit watch list. But he did say that he wants to announce in front of his school, because he's the first guy to do so since Monte Pitts back in, I don't know what it was. Hell, he was one of the first guys I covered a long time ago. Yeah. So he wants to do it at his school with his teammates, his friends, his family, and all that. He wants to have a little ceremony there. So that's the only reason I wouldn't put him on my Big Cat commit watch list. Although, you know what? I probably will, because you never know with these guys.
Yeah, that's true.
But for now, he's committing to Auburn. In my opinion, I think it'll be August 8th or 9th or 10th, somewhere right in there when they start back to school.
Yeah.
The 2024 list is a freaking it's a stud heavy list here, man. We mentioned Aaron Nolan, the 4-star quarterback. You've got another 4-star quarterback coming up from freaking Miami, dude. And Adrian Posse coming up from Columbus High and Miami, Florida. He camped at Auburn back in June. Auburn offered him. There was another guy. Auburn wanted to see this quarterback. He came up. He worked out in the camp, and Auburn offered him shortly thereafter. And has been pushing hard for this kid.
Yeah, he when I talked to him, he told me Harsin and Keesaw both called him and said, "Hey, we need to get you here for Big Cat." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm coming."
I'm there. His dad's a real cool guy. I talked to him last week. We just love. He said, "Well, we just love the staff. We love Keesaw. We love Carson. There's all really nice people." And we loved it so much the first time we want to come back. Definitely got to keep an eye on, man. Both of those quarterbacks, man. You're getting 2 4-star quarterbacks from 2024, and I wonder if there was a way, if Auburn didn't take a 2023 kid, which looks less and less likely as the days go on with Brock Glenn.
Yeah,
I don't know what the hell he's doing. Don't really care anymore. But what if you don't take a quarterback in 2023, and then you could get like 2 guys like this in 2024? That'd be okay with you, Cole?
Sure, I would say that'd be a good thing.
Yeah, you can always put a year between them if you want.
Depending on how you look at it, there is an urgency to an extent to get a quarterback in every class, but you do have the transfer portal, and the same way guys go out, the same way they've come in, and with with the system that Harsin and Keesaw are trying to do, it does attract quarterbacks a little bit more than the old system would.
Yes.
Whereas the old system attracted running backs, you
True.
like Tank Bigsby. So that's kind of the trade-off. But they're going to attract some good quarterback names every year, it seems like. And if you already got two that are real interested, like these two, Nolan and Posse, man, there's really no need to reach for anybody for 23.
What a great start to the class that will be. Either one of either or both of those guys getting either one of those guys or both committed would be a huge jump start to this 2024 class. And we talked about commit watch. There's going to be some commitments in the 2024 class, no doubt. Let me just read you off the rest of the guys coming. 4-star defensive lineman Jeremiah Beeman, 4-star defensive back Jaden Lewis. All these kids are in-state kids, by the way, from now on. Beeman, Lewis, both in-state kids. Sterling Dixon, 4-star edge, loves Auburn. Definitely on my commit watch list.
Yeah.
Zamarian Burnett from Andalusia. He's a 4-star running back. I think Alabama is probably the presumed favorite for him.
Right.
4-star DB Amon Lane from Moody. Definitely a commit watch list guy. He loves Auburn game. And they won the 7-on-7. Moody did. I really like this kid, man. I love talking to him. Love to get to meet him. He's a unique soul, man. I really like him.
He is. I enjoyed talking to him too, man. He's real passionate about what he's thinking and what he believes and the school he wants to choose. And that was an interesting conversation with him.
Yeah. I like him. And then just confirmed this the other day, 4-star linebacker from LaGrange, LaGrange and Troup County, Quay Birdsong, 4-star linebacker Quay Birdsong, who has a lot of connections to Auburn. He's actually from Roanoke, up there with Dylan Brooks, with Day Phillips, if you remember Day, R.I.P. Day. So he's got, but he's cousins with Dylan, talks to him all the time. So that'll be interesting to see where Auburn goes with him, because I think he's the only linebacker 2024. Yes, he is. And then some other guys who are not yet ranked, but who have, all of these kids have multiple SEC offers. They just haven't been ranked yet. Cameron Coleman from Phoenix City, Auburn, Oregon, A&M, all have offered this kid from Phoenix City Central. He's probably the next big thing, wide receiver at Central Phoenix City. He's coming this weekend. So is his defensive back, no kin, Jaden Coleman. I think you put that up, Cole. Jaden Coleman.
Yeah,
Jaden also Coleman. Keon Dunlap.
And that's going to be Jaden Coleman's first trip to Auburn, even though he is from Phoenix City, which is interesting.
That's not abnormal, believe it or not. Columbus and Phoenix City kids, it's like, I'll be a senior next year. Never been to Auburn. Well, damn.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
right down the road.
Jhead, I came to Auburn High School just to check out the menu. The two other guys in the 2024 class, in-state guys, Enterprise, Alabama defensive back Keon Dunlap, who has offers. Malachi Harris, a big offensive lineman from Anniston. I don't know much about him, but I'm sure I will. And then even some 2025 guys, Eric Winters from Enterprise, and another big dog from Grayshawn Swain, edge from these guys will be 10th graders.
Yeah,
right?
That Grayshawn Swain was at that camp. Yes, they'll be 10th graders. He was at that camp, one of the elite camps, and I talked to him. Man, that kid's going to be something, man.
Oh yeah, he built.
Yeah, he looks like he's ready to go right now, 2023, but he's not. He's 2025. I was like, dang, all right, I hear you. Anniston, by the way, Anniston loaded.
My poor buddy, Sam Adams, new coach at Oxford High School, man. I know he'd like to get some of these kids over there to Oxford. Oxford Anniston's like Opelika Auburn.
Yeah. Calhoun County.
So let's see. Some mighty 10 guys. I'm hoping to be able to mark some of these guys off the list, but we've talked about DJ Chester. It's just going to be hard to get any confirmation from him, but he's certainly got to keep an eye on 4-star offensive tackle, or is it offensive tackle or inside guy? Swing guy?
Yeah, swing guy.
Swing guy, 4-star DJ Chester. 4-star offensive tackle Keldon Smith. He's going to announce, I think, tomorrow, and I'm guessing he's going to Georgia. Be glad to take him off the list. Jelani Thurman's committed to Ohio State. He might show up with his buddies and stuff. I don't know. I mean, we still think Auburn's going to recruit him, but it's going to be tough to get him away from Ohio State. Jaden Osbury, who had hoped or planned to be here, he's now announcing his commitment in August. Looks like Notre Dame is the presumed leader there. Josh Horton, same as Jelani Thurman. No, Josh is going to Tennessee on Friday night, but I think he told Jason Caldwell he's not planning on being at the Big Cat. but some people close to him think
based on geography, he could swing back through.
and some others are like, he might come. I don't know. He's good enough to leave on there. And then Cole, man, I know you got Marcellus Pulliam, last week maybe? The linebacker from Georgia, who we think is probably moved up very high on the board with with Jaden Osbury likely headed elsewhere with C.J. Allen and Lewis Carter and all these cats that were Troy Bowles committed elsewhere. Auburn's still going to recruit them. But Pulliam remains uncommitted, and I think he was uncommitted about coming to Big Cat. I don't think he.
Yeah, I think he might have had a prior engagement or something like that going on. But he is considering it and seeing if he can make it. He said, but this was kind of his quote, and I'm paraphrasing. He's like, regardless, I'm gonna go to official visit and some games and stuff. So
don't look into this if I can't make it.
Right.
I would. Man, I hate this. I think Auburn has made him a high priority, and I think getting him would be a major haul. I think Auburn's going to continue with C.J. Allen, with Lewis Carter, with those guys. Another guys, Gabe Harris, we talked a little about him. Cedric Hawkins is committed to Ohio State. Some of these guys that are committed elsewhere, Auburn's going to continue. And what did Brian Harsin say today was his message to recruits is what we've been saying the entire freaking time, Cole. His message was watch.
Yep. Watch us, yeah.
Because here's the deal. If they go out there and fail, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, they're probably gone.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. But they don't believe it's going to happen. The players don't believe it's going to happen. The coaches don't believe it's going to happen. And 95% of the fans don't believe it's going to happen. I think now a large majority of the fans, and when I say fans, I'm going off of our message boards, the guys that we talk to and communicate with on a daily basis. Most of these fans, a large majority of them, matter of fact, when I was coming around to the bitches of the week, I can say it. There was about 5, and I thought, well, 5, out of 100, that's about right. 95 of them is pretty. And listen, and there's guys like, and I think Kemosabe is the best dingleberry there is, and that's why he'll always be the Dingleberry Hall of Fame. He's not shitting, unicorns and rainbows all the time. He is about as realistic as you can be, and the bitches of the week, and we'll get to them later. But they're just all tanking on this. But they're the worst kinds of fans. They really are. Worst kinds of clientele as well. But we're going to weed them out sooner or later. But back to the players and most of the fans, we believe in this team, man. They believe in this staff. I think even though you lost last 5 last year, you were in it to win it. One game except Georgia.
One of my takeaways, Jeffrey, from watching media days and seeing all the quotes and everything flying around is where earlier this year it seemed like people were saying Auburn doesn't have the roster to compete with some of these SEC schools. Now they're saying, the roster looks pretty good, but that schedule's so tough. So it's almost like, is confidence rising for some reason in Auburn being better than what they thought at first? It's weird. It's not what I expected to hear. I expected to hear the same, they were going to win 5 games.
A little bit more optimism than I was expecting.
I definitely. And Brian Harsin went in there and what he said about recruiting and what he said about everything and just kind of made it clear, we think we're going to be okay.
He walked up to the podium just swinging at the knees, dude. He looks out and says, it didn't work.
I love the fact that there's no shakiness in his voice. He didn't get rattled, maybe like Jimbo did talking about Nick Saban. Just straightforward. I'm looking at the camera. This is what I have to say, and thank you. That's it.
Yeah, I was impressed with. I maybe from covering Gus and even back to Chiswick was kind of fun because he'd fly off the cuff. But Gus was just so. And Gus is an awesome dude, but I think just a subject, an interview subject. He had 6 or 7 answers that, depending on what question, he went to that one and gave it to you. So Harsin swinging from the hip as well to the knees today is a breath of fresh air, and I like it. And I like what he said about recruiting. And hey, that's what we told him. Hey, go ahead and get your spot if that's what you want. Go ahead and commit. Go ahead and get your Clemson spot, Florida State spot, Nebraska spot, LSU, whatever you want to do. Get your spot. But just watch us.
Yep.
And that's people think we're crazy, man, but that's what's happening. If you don't think there's going to be a flip season this year, you are an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be the first time in the history of recruiting that there wasn't a flip season.
And really, what else?
Modern day, at least.
What else could he say at this point? You know, we've done all we can do with official visits. We've gotten in the guys we wanted to get in, and now you have to see what we're going to do, and that's where we're at. And we have to wait till the season, unfortunately.
Position themselves to succeed off of any success they have in the fall. That's what they do. And now the only difference between, let's say, what we were saying then and what we're saying now is I didn't expect all these kids to commit. I didn't expect all these kids to lock in a place in another class, because perception wise, and I understand that. I understood this on the message board. I understood people freaking out. Swing and miss, 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 get one. Swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss, get one. I understand that, man.
Yep.
It's tough, but you got to step back and realize what's happening. And the big picture here is, if signing day were next week, hell yeah, worried.
Yeah. You need to
ask the other day, when are the mods going to say we're worried? Shit, man, holler at me in Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Last week in November, dude. If Auburn still got 12 commitments and still swinging and missing everywhere else, yeah, that'd be reason for concern.
Yeah, chess, not checkers. You know, marathon, not a race. That kind
Absolutely,
of thing.
Man. It's far from over. And I think Keith's story with the edges almost proved that. It was almost like a slap in the face to some of these people who were just already thrown in the towel. It was like, look, dude, there are people out there, good recruits, highly ranked, highly coveted recruits, that just because we're not writing about them every day or because we don't know doesn't mean it's not happening, man. Chill out.
There's plenty, and you got a strong base in the 4 guys you got, all 4 stars. I mean, you want more, obviously, but for starting sake, you got 4 guys that you can build off of that are pretty good players. So
absolutely. And we've talked about this before. You've got these guys committing to you when you were 6 and 7 and almost fired 3 months ago, or 3 months ago.
That's right.
And despite all that, you've got these guys committed. Let's see, Cole. I know you talked about, I think wide receiver is another one, man. I think this is worth mentioning. You had a story on a 4-star wide receiver from California today who talked about his relationship and how much he communicates with the Auburn staff. Tell us about him.
Yeah, Malachi Riley from Moreno Valley, California, guy that reported an offer from Auburn June 15th, and says that Auburn and David Whitlow, the assistant receiver coach, and Ike Hilliard had been in communications, that he had just gotten off a FaceTime call with Whitlow and had something set up with Hilliard too, and somebody that says he's going to official visit. He's trying to set up one for the Penn State game and wants to check it out, and has some other schools in mind too, but was really high on Auburn, surprisingly, and had a lot of good things to say about him, and just thinks the world of Hilliard and Whitlow and his resume, and the fact that Keesaw had guys like Deshaun Jackson who are from California was really cool to him, that kind of thing. And Auburn's in the SEC, and the SEC is where he wants to play.
Oh, we do. The only thing that I was hesitant about when I read your story and I saw his profile is that he's a 6 foot. He's a Carmelo English,
smaller guy.
Yeah, and that was my only holdup. And I think we were certain. I'll be curious to see how his recruitment unfolds, because I think we all agree that Auburn wants a bigger wide receiver. The Jacoby Lanes of the Arizonas, talking about out west, and their 4-star wide receiver from Arizona is Jacoby Lane. Says he will officially visit Auburn. He is a 6'4" guy. Yeah. So curious to see what Auburn does with the wide receiver room, but I think it goes a long way in telling you about Ike Hilliard. And Harsin said this today: immediate impact Ike Hilliard has had on recruiting. And I'm gonna be honest with you, no disrespect to Eric Keesaw, but I don't think Carmelo English is committed to Auburn right now if Eric Keesaw is Auburn's wide receiver.
It's possible.
I don't think
Hilliard had a lot to do with it.
He did. Sure. Ike Hilliard wrapped that up the first time he ever met Carmelo English, and that was back in the spring, I believe, right after he was hired. Carmelo English finally came up to Auburn, met with Ike Hilliard, and walked out of there, and I caught him in the parking lot. I don't know if you were there or not, but his kid was like, woo! He's talking about.
And, it's almost like English, too, just for his case. He was looking for a reason to join Auburn, because he's always liked Auburn. We've always known that. And then when he met Ike Hilliard, he goes, wow, that's all I need right there. That's it. Everything else is good.
Done deal. So, but receiver is looking probably to add 1 or 2 more in this class, and as we both believe, it's going to be a
Yeah.
taller guy, some height, some 50-50
Well,
ball hitters.
they're going to be selective there, and they got a few guys. They got some guys in the portal who they think are going to be good. They talked up Coy Moore
Right.
at the SEC Media Days, and pretty good on depth, young guys, and
Camden Brown.
Yeah, Camden Brown, Amari Kelly, Jay Fair, even some of the like Dawson. He's still a young guy.
Oh, yeah.
Landon King. So they got plenty of players, but Malachi Riley is a guy that even though he's a smaller guy and they have that in Carmelo English committed, he's a guy with interest, and you don't turn away talented players that have interest, and they're going to explore that option and see what happens. So while they look for guys like Jacoby Lane at the same time.
I like Jacoby Lane to me. That's why I like Camden Brown, man. And, can't have enough of those guys. And don't get me wrong. I like your Carmelo Englishes, but give me the Camden Browns.
Well, if you have all the skills and then you add the size to it, you kind of got most everything, right?
Of course, I tell you what, man, those slot guys that Alabama's had in the last 10 years, great.
Well, there's the other side of it, right? If you know how to use those guys, you can be really dangerous. Having a good mix of everybody is the most important to me personally, and I think Auburn's trying to do that because you got guys all over the board like a Jay Fair and a Tavares Dawson are similar, and then you got Camden Brown, Landon King are your big guys. So they're trying to have a good mix of skill sets, I think.
And if I don't ever see another bubble screen, and don't get me wrong, it's just God Almighty, dude. I'm so sick. I was so sick of seeing bubble screen. Poor Eli Stove. It was either a jet sweep or I'm like, dude, God dang.
That's why when I compared Carmelo English to Eli Stove, I thought about it after. I was like, that's not going to go over well because he was used one way. But it wasn't. I didn't mean it that way. I explained. But, the role player thing. And I wondered if he sold people on, hey, this is going to be your role. Because of your speed and everything, that's your role. To me, that's almost like, man, I want to do everything. Let me do everything. I don't want to just be that guy, the speed sweep guy or whatever.
Right. I want to run out and up sometimes, dude. Let me throw that post.
It worked for some guys, though. It got them in.
Yeah, it did. You're right. Sure did. Let's see. Let's wrap it up there. Jhead is going to be back with us next week. We will do the call-in show Tuesday night. We might. No, I'll be able to do it for all you listen. I'm going to Alaska. We'll do a little fishing up there, little whale looking, and next week. But we will get our shows in. I believe we might have to change up the schedule a little bit, but we'll make it happen. Cole, you got any how about yous this week?
Yes, I do.
Good deal.
A newer member. I will give one to Jordan, not Jordan. Jordan.
How do you spell it?
He spells it JURDAN -not Jordan. So that's a new guy, and he's somebody that I like this week. And
cool.
I got a couple more. I'll go with Bo is great too because I just like how he kind of plays both sides of the fence, and he called in and gave us a great call the other night. He'll hold you accountable if you need it. He'll he'll be positive if it calls for it, and he'll also be negative if
yes, dude. He's a Kemosabe.
Yeah,
we listen. If you got as much positive as you got negative, man, I don't see any problem with that. Bo is great.
Yeah,
respect.
And then the musical Mo is my last one.
The musical Mo. What about Larry and Curly?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's what that might be referring to. Maybe. I don't know.
What popped in my mind. You seem a little young to know about Curly and Mo.
Yeah, Three Stooges.
Really?
I'm with it.
All right.
I got some pop culture knowledge. Me and Keith bond over that sometimes.
Okay. All right. I've got not as many how about yous this week, but some really good people. I'm gonna start off with Jay Lee's Pinkhead is overdue for a how about you. We've been he had a great call the other night.
Good.
Old former Woodland Bobcat. Got to give him a how about you ×2. How about you square to Jay Lee's Pinkhead?
Nice.
At Joe WDE had a good post, a good discussion post earlier this week or late last week. I can't remember what's today, Thursday or late last week.
Yeah.
At Tanaconda, put it on the board, big dog. How about you, man? How about you to at TJ Ranger 175, another good post, and at the dude, the _ dude. _dude. How about you? And then I've got at Ender, who's great basketball recruiting guy. Keeps us up to date on some of the things national when it comes to basketball recruiting. At WDG, at Y'all Tripping, and at Crawdad, man, who was embarrassing at TaylorMade today in the Harson's post. Crawdad, man, went off, dropped the mic on TaylorMade. But I will say this. I'm still gonna give how about you to TaylorMade too, because he's about 70 or 80% negative, but I think he's coming around, man. I think he understands.
He is. He's pulling a Shacker Jack on us.
Shacker Jack, yeah. I gotta put him down too, little bastard.
Tell you what, I'm wrong for not giving a Crawdad man a shout. How about you until now, because I've used some of his grilling recipes that he's given me already. Yeah, that dude has some good ones.
And here's another man. Speaking of TaylorMade and having that, he's coming around at Captain America. Captain America. I went back and forth with him in All in Fun. We were just going back and forth. I've known him for a long time. I don't know him personally, but I've posted with him for a long time. He's a old school bunker dude. So I've been there. Now listen, here's my post of the week. And this I'm not going to say this, but at Bend Over. He said in one of these posts where people were dogging and knowing all this, he comes on and he makes the most sensical post I've ever seen. He said, "Nobody hates Auburn more than Auburn fans." And he quoted the fans, which brings me to my dingleberries. Which dingleberries are fine with me, man. I'm Kemosabe like that. TaylorMade's a dingleberry most of the time. Captain America's a dingleberry most of the time, but they're okay with me. Dingleberry, you can just kind of flip them off real quick, right?
Sure. They have their moments, and then
sometimes they get caught in your butt hairs, but you can still pull them on out.
Right. You get past.
I shake my butt. Oh, me. I didn't say that. But anyways. Captain America, TaylorMade 2, we'll throw them in the dingleberries, but I'm still giving them a how about you, man. They're good with me. The guys that aren't, and I talked about this. Bend Over was talking about nobody hates Auburn more than Auburn fans. They're the worst kind of fans, man. And these are the female dogs of the week, man. This is what I'm talking about. These are guys that nobody really wants to be around in life. Nobody wants to hear somebody just criticize everything. And they're never positive. They're always negative. They always find the negative in whatever else it is positive. It's exhausting, and it's bad for business. So the female dogs, and I think I mentioned this before, we will be putting the dogs down.
Yeah.
We won't. I was just thinking, man, what about? I got 5 guys right here, 5 posters that are just, in my opinion, they're awful, terrible. They bring nothing to the board except negativity. So this is the fair warning, man.
I feel sure that I'll agree with you. I don't know who all you're going to say yet, but
we ain't gonna put up with it. I ain't. At Plainsman, not the Plainsman, but at Plainsman, terrible. At Seahorse, he's 90%, like everyone. But most of the time, he's just shut the hell up, dude. God dang, it's terrible. Granite Tiger, terrible. King Bruce, terrible. Pena, 87, terrible.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So those 5 guys, I'm going, man, without those 5 guys, I talked about the 95%. These are your 5%. And you're not good for business, dude.
No.
Nobody wants to be around you. Nobody wants to read you. Nobody wants to continue to argue with you. With your same old played out shit. You call yourselves Auburn fan, you're the worst type of fan there is. You're the worst type of fans. The guy that always complains, that always knows more than everybody else, and always knows more about the coaches, and oh god damn, shut up. I'm sorry, dude. But the post today, Justin's story about Hartson saying "kiss my ass."
Oh yeah.
And these people are in there just, I mean, they're not fans. They've got to be closet bammers or something. I can't imagine Auburn people being this way. And I know they are because I've been on the bunker for 15 years. But we are not going to have the bunker. The corner is not the bunker. I promise you that. I promise you that. So the female dogs of the week, beware, son, because the dog eater is out.
Yep. Take a lesson from Shacker Jack.
Shacker Jack.
That needs to be your role model.
Taylor made too, man. I'm telling you, he's okay.
He's coming around.
He can be a little, he can be a sumbitch too, but he's all. I mean, he's not on the cusp.
Or just Kim Wasabi, have some fun with it. We get how you feel, but have some fun with it. It's all in fun here.
But we've got a fantastic message board. And I'm not going to let a few people mess it up. We really do, dude. Yeah, I've been on all of them. We've got it. I mean, even this is peak dribble season right now, where there's nothing really going on, dude. And I looked the other day, and there was one post out of the whole front page that wasn't sports related, wasn't Auburn football related. And it was some dude wanting to know about a mattress, which, hey, I'm cool with that, because every once in a while I might want to know about a mattress too.
Yeah, right. No, that's good stuff.
We've got a fantastic message board. I love it. And I'm not going to let a few people mess it up. Not for everybody. So beware. What do you call them, man? They drive around in the truck with the cage on the back. They pick up stray dogs.
The dog catcher?
Is that it? All right. I thought there was a better word for that.
No, I
thought you were smarter than me, Cole.
If there's no word out there, I hadn't heard it before.
But always the how about you's 95% outweigh the female dogs, man. We love it. I love the message board. I love where we're going. I love what we're doing. And we appreciate everybody. Really do. For most of you, 95% of you, we appreciate you. I'll give you $1 back for you other ones that don't want to be on there and be cool. Yeah. As I said, man, don't be a dick. And you 5 guys are dicks right now. So, but we got a lot coming up, man. Big Cat Weekend's next weekend. Yep. Saturday week. We'll have the call-in show on Tuesday. We'll start finalizing this list. Some of these guys will be taking off. Some other guys will be adding to this list. There's going to be several commitments. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be several commitments next weekend. Get ready. Yep. There's going to be several.
Sure will.
Maybe upwards of 5.
Man.
At most, I would say 3 to 5. And I'm talking 2024s too. I would say 3, 4, 5. I'm telling you, it might be 5.
Flashback, a few weeks ago when we were having trouble getting names on the list, and now, but that's kind of the trend right now. So
there will be some more guys confirmed, and so shit, Cole. We went on 52 minutes. Sorry about my little tirade there.
Well, we could do a whole show on that, just about. I think.
Well, good deal, man. Hey, thank you, everybody. We appreciate y'all listening, man. Check with us on Tuesday night for the call-in show. Again, if you're not a member of Auburn Live on 3, as we said, man, we got an awesome message board, and we're not going to let it be taken over by a bunch of crap. So you are welcome. We talk Auburn football, we talk recruiting, we talk basketball, we talk recruiting. We do it all, man. We got a lot of good stuff. We hope we'll hope you come check us out. Auburn Live on 3, $1 for an entire year. Again, we appreciate everybody. Hey, for Zach, we appreciate you, big dog. Big how about you always to Zach McKinnell in the back there, man, who does a fantastic show producing the show. And for Cole, we appreciate you, big dog. We'll see you Tuesday, man. For Cole, for Zach, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of the left lane. See you.